confrontation can be, hey, can we slow this down for a second and look at what's going on, right?
Right.
There's a difference. There's a difference
Yeah.
between, or I mean, I could think of an example of someone it can be really tricky that, this is an example that may not be useful, but this is a long time ago. I had a patient say to me once, we've been in therapy. She'd been in therapy for a couple of years, and she said, "It's interesting because you're the first man I've spent this much time with who hasn't tried to have sex with me."
Yeah.
Right?
There you go. Right. Right.
And that can mean all sorts of things. And if we think about this psychoanalytically, it has different layers and competing things to it. But the goal would be, in that moment, can we think about it in a way that could, okay, so what does this mean, right? And it's possible, and this is where it gets really, really tricky in a confrontation, because it could, if every male relationship has been like this, how can we talk about the potential for co-creation there without blaming the individual for the bad things that happened?
Right.
But if you create the right sort of space, then this individual could say, as she was able to say, that whenever I am strong in so many places in my life, but whenever I enter a relationship with a man, I turn some important parts of myself off.
Mm.
And that gets me in trouble because I no longer am empowered to set boundaries. And that doesn't blame her, but it points out,
Right.
And then I can say, well, there's just something about here that we do that makes it easier for you to hold on to that powerful part of yourself. And suddenly, that can be a moment, right?
Yeah,
That is and if you don't have the right music, it can feel blaming, it can feel attacking, it can feel whatever, but it's like, hey, there's something interesting here. What is this?
Yeah, that's a very interesting concept. We also talked about support and challenge. And I think challenge probably is a better word than conflict or that kind of pushing things onto people. But it still is a challenge to them, and they have to reconcile with the truth, the information, the information that comes to them. So, yeah, I mean, this is where therapy is a science, but it's also an art. There has to be some real play. And when you mention music, it seems like, wow, you can put everything on a music track these days. So maybe therapy is just a long, complicated music score that we have to work through, and everybody gets is a symphony that gets played in therapy. All right,
Well, so if you
bring me back from the ledge. I know I went too far.
but there's where co-creation comes in, because sometimes if people are playing different tunes, you don't really have music, you have a clash, right? Not The Clash, which is a good band.
Oh, yeah.
But
Post-punk.
yeah. Technically,
Technically, I knew you would correct me. All right,
Well,
there we go.
they
This
were-
episode's coming up shortly, folks. We'll get back to music, I swear.
They
We
technically
will do
could be
this.
considered post-punk in a way, because they were a punk band, but at the beginning. But so I'm not sure the Clash, the idea, the music behind that, and so there's the possibility that two people then can improvise together, and there's music can look lots of ways. There is there's a typical pop song. There's the singer is up front and
Yep.
the music accompanies, and so, or if it's jazz, there's much more interconnection. If it's free jazz, people can be playing two different songs, but it's still happening in a way that is somehow musical. So there are lots of things that could happen there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess so. I don't know if I want two songs playing at the same time, but I understand the concept of it. I guess we're trying to move to a place of melody and harmony and actual music that is
But you could
working
look
as
at-
a metaphor for psychotherapy.